it just drives me insane. And then like every now and then he'll hit a three, and everybody's like, "Oh, he's a great shooting big man," and blah blah blah.
Better not give it to Jamal and Rafinha. And that's probably sounding crazy coming from a Barca fan.
Scottie Scheffler coming away with another dub. You think he's going to win the U.S. Open here coming up in a couple of weeks, or what? He's got to. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the From the Stands podcast. I'm here with my good buddy Stallone for another episode number 65, I believe, in the entire catalog here. We are back on this first day of June. It is a Sunday. I feel like we're just kind of peppering the board with every day at this point, just kind of coming at you on a different day. So it is 8:50 at night, so coming at you a little bit later once again, just because we don't do this on a regular basis at a regular time. So yeah, been a pretty eventful couple weeks here. But Fezzy boy, what you got going on recently?
Not a whole lot. Just we had a little pool party tonight, which was fun. Got to take Owen. He actually got in the pool. The water was like, I want to say extremely cold, but it was on the nippier side, and he loved it, man. I was just like, I was shivering sitting there holding him, but no, he loved it. But it was with our Sunday school group, so that was a fun time to talk to some people that we don't normally talk to and kind of fellowship. Ate some good food. So
Nice.
yeah, it was a good time. But
Love those summer cookouts.
Dude, I know. And we were kind of talking off pod, but like literally like perfect weather this weekend, which was like super beneficial for you. Took a little trip to Charleston, huh?
Yeah. Took Joy and Bentley to Charleston for the weekend. Bentley's first time at the beach, so that was pretty exciting for him. Like you said, weather was absolutely perfect. Can't ask for any better weather there, to be honest. About 75, breezy. Really great for evening walks and things like that. So went to the beach this morning actually with Bentley. That was his first time on the beach, like I said. So that was pretty eventful. He loved the water and everything. So yeah, it was a great getaway. So can't complain at all. It's just a great time. Like you were saying off pod. I wish well, I guess that I lived down there, but that the time was longer. So yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. Charleston is so nice. It's
the
just
best. Yeah,
it's like perfect. It's like super historical, but like there's
dude.
tons of stuff to do. And it's just so nice. It's nice to walk around.
Yeah, so many places to eat, so many places to see. I'm kind of a sucker for like the historical side too, because I like history and whatnot, but also just like the architecture, like the buildings there that are like 300 years old, like the European style of just basically the whole city is something that I really get down with. As being from Europe, it's something that is really cool. So I always love to see kind of that side of things too. So it's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. No, absolutely. But we got a good episode for you guys. Sammy boy, let them know what's coming up, and we'll get right into this episode.
Yeah. We got a couple series here, conference finals that have happened in their entirety since we've last been with you guys. So about a week and a half ago, the NBA finals are set. So we'll get into both of those series that wrapped up just in the last couple of days or so. We'll also get into some European finals in the football, them wrapping up basically the entire soccer season. So really getting to the tail end of the sports here for the spring, and we'll be in the dog days here pretty soon. And then we'll wrap up the episode with a little golf, just because we're trying to expand our horizons here just a little bit with like I said, the dead period coming up. We gotta fill up our time with something. So we'll get into those in just a moment. Starting off the NBA portion of this podcast with the Thunder Timberwolves Western Conference Finals that just wrapped up. I believe last time we were talking with you guys, the first game had just concluded. My Oklahoma City Thunder getting a huge dub there. I think it was about 25 points or so. So very convincing win there on our home court. So I was left very, very excited, but also skeptical at the same time, just because I doubted, I guess, a little bit the Timberwolves playing as badly as they did in that game. But my concerns were, I guess, didn't need to be there really, because Timberwolves never really showed up except in game three
Nah.
there. So it was really consistent work by my Thunder, just consistently putting in amazing defensive performances, and the Timberwolves kind of coming up short, not being able to really generate enough offense at the end of the day to come through in this series. Gentleman sweep here for the Thunder, 4-1, winning our first Western Conference Finals since 2012, obviously, since KD, Russ, and Harden and the boys went to the finals
Wow.
way back when I was 13 years old. Remember it well, but we'll get into the nitty gritty here in just a moment. But Fezzy boy, what do you got to say about this series as a whole? How'd you see the Thunder with them coming up pretty big here against the Timberwolves? Gentlemen sweep.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys remember, I was the one that had the T Wolves going to the NBA Finals. That looked just like a tragic pick.
I mean,
Um,
they got
I,
pretty far, so
I mean, they did get far, nice, like basically where they were last year. So I mean, like
yeah.
they've been there, done that. I really thought OKC's like their inexperience was going to show. I think what really helped them was that Denver series being pushed by a championship caliber roster, I guess you could say. I obviously, if Denver was a championship level team, they would probably be in the finals, but a roster that's been there, done that. So I think that really helped OKC out when it came to playing the T Wolves, who have kind of been there and done that before them. And we'll get into it a little bit because I know you have a take about like the T Wolves in their first two series, like not really pushed at all. And so it was a little bit of fool's gold going on. I know Jared's probably like listening and being like, dude, what the heck are you saying? But yeah, I mean, I really thought the T Wolves were going to show a little bit more fight than that, but obviously, like you said, they showed up in was it game 4, like like
Game
mopped the
three.
floor. Game 3,
Yeah.
mopped the floor with OKC, and then after that, just really was not a competitive series at all. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's my initial take.
Yeah. No, I pretty much agree with most everything that you said. I think it was really, um, I guess, reminiscent of what I was saying last time as well. I think the Denver series was a huge tester. Obviously, getting past that game 7 against Jokic and the boys over there at the Nuggets was huge. As I think it's pretty much the biggest game that the Thunder this young core has had basically in
Mm-hmm.
their whole careers, and being able to get past them in that game 7, I think was a huge part of their development as a team. And a lot of people I saw was saying online that was the real NBA Finals, that the Thunder just
Mm.
kind of clean up shop here with the rest of against the Timberwolves already. Obviously, the job's done there against the Pacers too. A lot of people aren't giving the Pacers much of a shot, but the Pacers haven't been given much shot in any of the series that they've really been in so
No.
far, and obviously they're in the finals. So we'll see kind of how that ends up going. But a lot of people had the Nuggets. If they beat the Thunder, the Nuggets were going to go to the NBA Finals as well. So just says, I guess, a lot about that series and how evenly matched those two teams were. But I feel like Jokic kind of comes up in every episode now, but just one little thing on him. I just think it's so impressive that he was able to get that Nuggets squad to a game 7 against us. And I think
Yeah.
that looks amazing on his resume, and again on the Nuggets resume as well. Just being able to go to a game 7 against the Thunder, playing them so close, it
Mm-hmm.
is crazy. Obviously, now that the Thunder put up 4 games against the Timberwolves and um, kind of run away with each one. So I think it's kind of similar, what he did against the U.S. Olympic team when he was playing for Serbia. Like he had a bunch of guys that were, a couple NBA guys sprinkled in there, but going up against the absolute god squad that was the U.S. team in the summer, and being able to play them so close in that semifinal, it was huge. And kind of the same situation here against the Thunder, but I digress about the Jokic talk. Obviously, he's not a part of this playoffs anymore. But yeah, just super impressed with my Thunder. Obviously, that they really hinge on their defense. Like everybody just rushing to the ball. Like
Mm.
the way that they switch, bro, is just insane to watch. Like obviously, they have Caruso, one of the best defenders in the league. He's really the centerpiece on defense. The communication that he brings. He's only 31, but he's like our oldest player, so he's really the guy that's communicating with everybody on defense. So, like I said, the way that they switch is unlike anything I've ever seen. Everybody's athletic. Everybody's
So
a
good.
3-and-D guy, and everybody can shoot threes, which I think came up huge in this one. And 3 of the 4 games that we won in this one, they weren't even really close. Like the Timberwolves not
Mm,
really being able to do much on the offensive side of the floor, and then the Thunder, like I said, anybody being able to shoot the ball movement on offense. Chet Holmgren, I feel like he had a really great series. And basically all the games that we had won, and then Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, obviously the offensive generating machine. Like, with this an offense as stacked as we have, like it just really, it provides the lanes for Shea Gilgeous-Alexander to get his points. So I think the
hmm
Timberwolves were really dumbfounded without Anthony Edwards. I feel like we did a really good job of shutting him down, and that kind of shut their whole team down. I mean, Julius Randle had a couple good games, but wasn't able to elevate in the end. And their other pieces, especially their starting five, really struggle. Like Rudy Gobert kind of went back to the same old, same old. I don't know. There was a center there to guard him, unlike the Lakers in the Warriors series. And Jaden McDaniels was having a frustrating time guarding Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. So those are
right.
the couple of the things that I saw. But I guess I'll kind of go right into what you were saying a little bit earlier. I think the Timberwolves were a little bit, obviously they were outmatched against the Thunder, but the Thunder are kind of like
hmm
an all-time team at this point. Like they're going to look that way. But I think,
Oh
like I
yeah.
said in the last episode, like I think it was a little bit luck of the draw for the Timberwolves that they kind of got a little bit farther than they not deserved, because obviously you play who you play, but
hmm
I think they got very favorable draws against the Lakers and then obviously the Warriors with Steph going down. That
hmm
Anthony Edwards was kind of able to carry them against those two teams. But then, like if they would have come up against like the Nuggets in the first or second round, I think they would have been out. I think if they would have come up against who was the second seed in the West, um, the
In the West,
Rockets. The
Rockets,
Rockets, I
yeah.
think they would have lost to them as well. They're kind of a,
Mm.
a team that's built similarly to the Thunder, not quite as good, but I think they would have lost to them as well. So I don't know, I'm not sure if you agree with that take or not, but obviously Anthony Edwards is great, but I guess a lot of people want to crown him the next MJ, but back to back Western Conference Finals, he's gotten outplayed by a guy on the other end that's
Yeah.
his rival. So
hmm
I understand the
Yeah.
team's not equal, but
Right, right. Yeah, absolutely. As you were saying that, I was like, honestly, Golden State should be happy that Steph went out. I think the T Wolves saved them some embarrassment because
hmm,
I mean, you can tell me if I'm wrong. And coming as like kind of like a Golden State fan, like a closet Golden State fan, like I don't think Golden State would have gotten swept. Like they wouldn't even won a game because I mean the T Wolves had way more offense, way more size. That's kind of why I had them going. Like I thought they matched up well with OKC, but OKC was just like such a better team than them that it was surprising almost.
yeah.
Like going into it, like leading up, like watching First Take and Get Up and all these other like sports media talk shows talking about that. They were like, "This is the game. Like this is going to be the series to watch." Because like everyone was like, "Yeah, the Knicks are going to roll the Pacers." That's another thing we'll get into. Like I
Hmm,
wasn't so as high on the Knicks, but yeah, I don't know. I think you put it perfectly. It was more OKC, like giving them credit for their defense than like Ant playing poorly.
hmm,
Like obviously he's young, he has to add some layers to his game that he doesn't have. Like right now it's either I'm getting to the rim or I'm shooting a three. There's not a lot of pull up, there's not a lot of like backing someone down, like playing in the post, this, that, and the other.
yeah.
OKC was just so much better on defense. And going back to your point on like Caruso and Lou Dort and
Hmm.
who's the young guy that comes off their bench that they had on Ant too?
Cason Wallace.
Dude, like all three
He
of
would be a
them,
starter on so many other teams in the NBA, bro. Like
every other every
he's so
other team.
good.
And like there's talk that they won't be able to re-sign Lou Dort. He's getting older, but like they got that
Yeah.
kid coming in,
Hmm.
filling his shoes, Lou
Yeah.
Dort, all defensive team. Like all three of them were on Ant and they just passed him off like the entire time.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
yeah,
they
props to
kept
them.
cutting to these sequences where like they were getting switches, but it would go like you said, like it would go Caruso and then it would go Lou Dort, and then like if Cason Wallace was on the floor, like it would switch to him. Like I mean, they were
Yeah.
locking that boy up. Like he could not do anything. He just
I
end up
know,
having to
dude.
pass to someone else for a bad 3-point shot or something like that. And again, the
Mm-hmm.
rotations and the switches are there every time. So I just thought it was. it's just a defensive masterclass, to be honest. And that's how we're able to put together these runs, like points off turnovers. Like, I mean, it's like that, and it's like a 20-point lead, like over like a couple minutes, and that's how we're able to kind of run away with these in the third and fourth quarters. Like they'll be close, and then we'll kind of just end up winning by like 20 points out of nowhere.
Uh-huh.
And I think a lot of it too is just like the Thunder did just um their shot making is so good. Like I told
It's
Jared,
absurd, dude.
like it's like they'll be making like the T Wolves. There's a few times where it's like it felt like everything was going in for them, and then you look at the score and we'd be like up by 2 or 3. I'm like,
Right.
what is going
Right.
on? So,
Yeah.
yeah, just a super great series by my Thunder, and yeah, I don't know if you had
No.
much else to say about that, but very excited for them to be in the finals again.
Well, I'm glad you brought up that, like, the fact of, like, even when the T Wolves were on, like, you looked at the scoreboard and the Thunder is still
Yeah,
up. And I was gonna actually like bring up your game 4 win, 128 to 126.
yeah,
Like that was the game that everyone, other than the blowout win that the T Wolves had in game 3, that was the game that everyone was like, this is what you need. Like,
mhm,
Ant's not hitting. You need the other players to start hitting shots. Like DiVincenzo had a good game. Naz Reid had a good game. Alexander Walker had a good game. They were hitting shots. They were, I think, DiVincenzo and Alexander Walker were like
yep,
20 plus points in that game, and
exactly.
everyone was like, you got what you needed from everybody else,
Hmm.
and you still lost the game. And I think
Yeah.
that was when like everyone just kind of like realized like, oh shoot, like OKC is just like
Yeah.
that good.
Yeah, I totally agree with everything you're saying too. Like, I mean, that was the game. Like what that does mentally, I feel like to the Wolves too. Like
Oh
instead
my
of two
word.
two, it's 3-1, and like we
Right.
just shot 44% from three. We had two 20-point contributors off the bench, and we still
Yeah.
can't beat these guys. And now we're down 3-1. I
Mm-hmm.
think that might have been maybe some of the reason for the switch off in game 5 when like we were up by 40 points in that game. Like obviously
Yeah,
it,
we
it
should talk
came
about
down to
that.
yeah, it came down to ended up being 30 by the end of it. But I mean, I think the highest we were up by was like 44 or something like that. At
Mm-hmm.
halftime, we were up massive. So
Mm-hmm.
ended up sitting our guys in like the end of the third, early fourth quarter just because it wasn't really a game anymore.
No, dude.
But I don't know what you have to say about that game 5, but they didn't even come to play.
Yeah, I mean that game was legitimately over in 7 minutes. Like
Yeah,
like
pretty much.
people use that like as an exaggeration, but like that game was legitimate, like legitimately real life reality over in 7 minutes.
Hmm.
Like the Wolves had zero answers, and I think that just shows OKC's maturity. Like nah, we're taking care of business. Like put the series away, game. Like this isn't going any further. We're just gonna end you here. Like we're not gonna take the game off. We're just gonna finish it. And that just shows a lot of maturity, because like a really young team that doesn't care probably loses that game.
Hmm.
But or at least it's closer than it was. But they just came out and they were just like, nah, we're the better team. This is over. See you guys.
Yeah. Yeah. A little bit of a stat, I guess, from that game 5 was Chet, Jalen Williams, SGA, Dort, and Kaysen Wallace all had plus 25 plus minuses on the night. So
Yeah,
obviously
man.
they were dominating too. And before I get too ahead of myself, obviously we're in the finals now, but like I mean, we are set up for the future. Like you were saying, like even if we lose a couple guys, we
Mm-hmm.
have like carbon copies on the bench that are just gonna like take their spots. We have like 4 or 5 picks in the draft that's in a couple months. Like
Yeah.
obviously we know what we want. We know the guys that like we need to like buy into the system that we play. And we have I think he was a lottery pick. I think he was a top 10 or 15 pick. And Nikola Topic, who hasn't even played this year,
Yeah.
that and he's been injured all year, but like I feel like we're set up so well for the future as well. Like even if we lose a couple guys through contracts, I mean we just got guys waiting. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, even regardless of how this finals ends up, very very excited for my Thunder
Yeah.
going forward, and that's a big testament to the front office as well. So um, obviously that was pretty long winded, just because obviously the Thunder are my team. So very excited for them to be in the final. My by the way, my teams like never win like anything, any sport, any team, whatever
Yeah.
country, whatever state, like. never win. So
Yeah.
very excited about my Thunder going to the finals as favorites. So
It's been a
um,
long drought since, like you said, 2013 back with the
and
Durant and
we've had competitive teams too. Like obviously we
yeah,
had Katie and Russ for a few years after Harden left. Then we kind of switched to Russ, PG, and Carmelo for a little while. We had CP3 in there when we were rebuilding. So we've had some good squads, been in the playoffs, but obviously never back to the finals. So
right.
very, very excited for that. But switching it over to the other side, we probably won't talk as in depth or as long about this series as the OKC series, but Pacers eliminating the Knicks in 6 games to head to their first finals since I believe 2002, one somewhere in there, maybe even
Something like that.
2000.
25 years.
Yeah, I know that they lost to the Lakers. So, but yeah, I mean, surprise of the playoffs right here. I don't think I even had the Pacers getting out of the first round. So obviously,
Mm-hmm.
huge props to them. Obviously, eliminating the Bucks and then the number one seeded Cavs in 5 games. That was extremely
Yeah.
surprising. They had a very, very good record going into the postseason, and then dispatching the Knicks as well. I think the Knicks were favored against them as well, and then just kind of coming in and just taking over. Really, obviously Tyrese Halliburton coming up huge in most of the games that they did win, but I think the first 2 games at the Knicks were just obviously the tone setters. Getting both of those
Mm-hmm.
games on in New York was massive. The first one I think we talked about last time we were on the pod, where they just kind of stole that one at the end.
Oh yeah.
And then the second one, kind of similar. I think they had to come back a little bit, ended up holding on for a 5-point dub there. But what do you guys say about the Pacers here pulling out? It was kind of a close series, but I mean the wins, especially the last 2 against the Knicks, pretty convincing here.
Yeah, I mean, like you're kind of alluding to, the series lost in the first 2 games. The Knicks kind of pulled a Celtics, like what they did to the Celtics, getting those first 2 against them on like and stealing home court really shifted the series. Yeah, like you were saying, no one. I didn't, you didn't, and a lot of like the big sports media personalities didn't see the Pacers coming, except for Brian Windhorst, Windy. He actually
Hmm.
called this like right when the playoffs started. I don't know it off the top of my head, but I think the Pacers from like I'm trying to think like February or something went on like this crazy winning streak. And he said if you look at that and you take all the top teams and you like take it from that date to now, they have the better record compared to like that record is a number 1 seed. And he was like, they are a championship contender hiding in plain sight. He was obviously right. They're in the finals. Now, with that being said, I am so high on OKC right now. I don't even like. I could easily see OKC giving them a game and gentlemen sweeping them in the finals, and just like it not even being worth watching.
Yeah.
If you're not an OKC fan, but honestly, whoever won the series, I was like, OKC is just so much better than them. But well, I mean, with that being said, Halliburton just played out of his mind, and like I didn't see that coming. I honestly, when the overrated thing came out, I was like, I can kind of see that. I don't think he's like super overrated, but I'm like, when he was on the Olympic team, I was like, why are we taking Halliburton? Like why don't we have like Kyrie or someone else? Or like I get taking young guys, but I was just like I just don't see it. But like
Yeah.
obviously, this is why I don't coach at a high level because I just don't see that. But he is becoming. I wouldn't say he's quite a superstar yet. I would agree with that take that some people have, but he is
Yeah.
definitely a really 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 crucial part of this Pacers team that's heading to the NBA Finals.
Yeah, yeah. Obviously, he's with him on that squad this past summer just makes that squad look even more stacked than
So
it was
good.
before. And yeah, I think he has to be a lot more consistent to be considered a quote unquote superstar. But I mean, he's right on that edge where I mean he's knocking on the door
Mm-hmm.
right now for sure. So, but yeah, I was really really impressed with the Pacers. They go really deep in their bench as well, kind of similar to the Thunder. Obviously, not quite to our caliber, but they've just got several guys coming off the bench that can contribute. Obviously, Thomas Bryant, like out of nowhere, 3 for 4 in the
Yeah.
closeout game. Obi Toppin comes off the bench. He's able to contribute in several different ways, like defensively, able to hit a few threes. Obviously, known more for his dunking coming out of college. I remember that. But Ben
Mm-hmm.
Shepherd, like I love his game too. Like he's kind of a defensive lockdown kind of guy. So again, kind of similar to the Thunder, where it's just it's kind of even. Like obviously Tyrese is kind of heading everything up with Pascal Siakam, but just several guys that can contribute in the closeout game. Again, like all their starters were in double digits, so really balanced and even scoring. And again, they play defense just about as well as anyone in their conference, at least for sure. But wanted to get your perspective on the Knicks as well. Like obviously,
Mm.
the Knicks fans are always going to think that they're favored, but I think most people did have the Knicks favored in this one just because I think the names, the star power, just the Nova boys, what they got going on over there, Jalen Brunson, and I feel like just kind of the perception that everyone has about him now. What do you got to say about the Knicks here? Just I wouldn't say imploding necessarily because I mean they still won 2 games, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, just not really living up to expectations as a lot of people had him favored to get to the finals here.
Yeah, I think the favor, like them being favored, really came from them knocking off the Celtics. But that's
Mm.
part of my take. That's why I bring that up. Their first series against the Pistons, they were pushed, and everyone's like, "That was a really good push for the Knicks." But because of that, everyone was like, "There's no way they get past the Celtics." They didn't win a game against the Celtics in the regular season. Didn't win a game against the Cavs, so everyone did not have the Knicks coming out of the Eastern Conference at all. But I think what really opened people's eyes was their win against the Celtics. But to me, that was a little bit of fool's gold because this team was put together specifically to beat the
Yeah,
Celtics.
true.
And that's why they did so well, and that's why they knocked off the Celtics. And then they run into a team that they're not built to beat, a better team that goes deeper with the better coach. I wouldn't say they have the better superstar. I would still probably take Brunson over Halliburton at this point. Could be wrong if he wins. That's a hot
I
take. That's a hot
disagree.
take. Oh my word, we're gonna have to get into this. But I think it was a bit of fool's gold. And like again, back to the Pacers being like their record since a certain date was like that of a 1 seed. I think they were better than a lot of people gave them credit. Obviously knocking off the Cavs as well. But I just think it was a bit of fool's gold and the Pacers just being a better team. And again, I think the Knicks were put together to beat a specific team. They weren't put together to be a great team. I think the team last year, if healthy, as we've seen, what is better than this team because of just like the different pieces that they had. They had better defend. I think a better defender in DiVincenzo last year. Cat doesn't really do a whole lot for me on the defensive end, which really
Same,
hurt them in
bro.
this game.
I could go on
Um,
about him, but
but so I guess that's kind of my take. The Pacers are just a better team, so they deserve to go through, obviously. But I just
yeah,
think the Knicks were built to beat the Celtics, and that's about it. Like they ran into a young up and coming Pistons team. Like if they play the Piston team next year, I think the Pistons
bro.
beat them.
Totally agree.
Like like that's just my take. Tell me I'm wrong, but that's just my take. I think they had an easy draw, played a team that they were built to beat, and then ran into a really good team in the Pacers, and that's kind of the difference.
Yeah, I think what you're saying is generally correct as well. I think that they created a team to beat the Celtics, and in an Eastern Conference where obviously the Celtics were by far and away, if everyone's healthy, the
Mm,
best team in the conference. You'd think that if you can beat them, you can kind of get by, kind of no matter who you go up against in the East. But very quickly, obviously, that's not becoming the case. Not just because of teams like the Pacers, but exactly who you're talking about, like the Pistons next year,
mm,
bro. Like if you run it back, this next team against that Pistons team, I don't know. Like the Pistons are up and coming. Like
yeah.
they have just several teams in the East that are drafting well, that are signing good players, that are kind of like again, I know I'm a Thunder fan, but like kind of what the Thunder are doing. Like they figured out that
Hmm.
like it's not just signing big threes anymore. Like you gotta
Right.
build, you gotta it's a kind of a process. It's not just we're getting away from the super teams, which I really really enjoy. But
Me
um,
too.
yeah,
Hmm.
so I guess you can't blame the Knicks necessarily, but they're kind of stuck in the middle between this new I guess fad where like people are building teams instead of just creating big threes anymore, which is what what the Knicks have really. Like obviously Tom Thibodeau is known for really only playing like 6 max 7 guys, so he's kind of,
Mm-hmm.
he hinges on those guys and only those guys. But I just like what you were saying earlier. Like I'm not a Brunson fan, honestly. Like one, the foul baiting, which
Mm.
drives me insane, but also
Yeah.
like he'll be bro. He holds the ball like the shot clock's 24 seconds. He'd be holding it for like 17, 18 seconds trying to go
Mm.
ISO, and then he'll like if he's doubled, he'll just try to give it up. Obviously, he'll want it back within like a second. Like it's just very one dimensional. I feel like, and as soon as he
Yeah.
goes off the floor, they go on a run. Like I just
Mm-hmm.
feel like there he drags the team down just by being so one dimensional. Again, the foul baiting drives me crazy, which I know is going to be ironic if you're not a Thunder fan because obviously Shea does that as well, which I've been on the record saying I don't like that about him, obviously, but. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then Cat's a whole nother thing too. Like everyone's kind of calling for Cat to be traded now, which I think is hilarious. But I cannot stand Cat either. Like I told Jared this during the series. I was like, Cat infuriates me. Like he has the ball on offense. He puts his head down, tries to like
Uh-huh.
drive through players, screaming for a foul the whole time he's driving, while also committing like 6 offensive fouls at the same time. And then
Yeah.
he just drives me insane. And then like every now and then he'll hit a 3, and everybody's like, "Oh, he's a great shooting big man," and blah blah blah. I'm like, bro, he. Oh my goodness, he drives me insane. So I'm so glad that the Knicks got knocked out just because their players just annoy me. But I love Mikal Bridges, bro. Like I love his game. Obviously,
Yeah. Yeah.
a guy that can contribute on both ends of the floor. His demeanor is cool. But yeah, I think again the Thibodeau, like just the super, I'm gonna have 6 guys that I trust, not being able to
Yeah.
really build a team like these other teams are. And again, like you said, just the kind of building to beat one team, I think kind of came back to bite him here against a Pacers team that's a little bit more well balanced. So
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And a big reason I think that, if the Knicks made it to the finals, they would have just gotten rolled because I don't have the numbers in front of me, but like the plus minus with Brunson off the floor and with them like with him off the floor and then running like their second lineup was like crazy. Like he was in the negative because of his
mhm.
defensive ability and just how ball dominant he was.
Yeah.
And like when Thibodeau was forced to go to his bench, they played so much better. I
Mhm.
don't get why he doesn't like, dude. Like you have Shamit who's playing really well defensively as
Yeah.
well.
Dude, he came in
Miles
that
McBride was
closeout
really
game. I
good,
know it was like garbage time, but he hit like
dude.
four
Yes,
threes or something crazy.
yes, yes. I was like, dude, where was? And I'm
Goodness.
just like sitting there, I'm like, dude, he is literally shoving it up Thibodeau's butt right now, like just
Yeah.
saying, like, dude.
And like
But
obviously
it's
all the
because
pressure is off at that point. But yeah, I mean
but
he's always been a good shooter.
yeah, and this goes back to your initial like take on like the super teams, like the teams that were in like the final four and now in the finals. They're teams, like they have 2 or 3 guys that can get it, and then like two or three other like really good like auxiliary players like on the outside that like they're not gonna look for their shots. But with Brunson and Cat being so ball dominant, it doesn't allow for like a Shamit to get hot and like win you a game. It doesn't allow you for like a Miles McBride to get hot and win you a game. Like it doesn't allow you. And it's the same with the T Wolves. I think they're a little different because they do have a really good bench and they do rely on it. I just think OKC was just like so much better than them that it just looked worse.
Yeah.
But they were built kind of the same way. Like
Hmm.
Ants a bit ball dominant. Julius Randle's ball dominant, and it really just it hurts the other guys because it's like they're thinking pass first. Where with like OKC and the Pacers, like Neesmith is like, nah, I'm gonna win this game with 4 minutes left. I'm gonna hit
Bro.
6 threes in a row because Halliburton's passing me the
Crazy.
ball, and like same with SGA. Like SGA is gonna get his, but Jalen Williams can score. Chet can score. Like it's just like anybody's day. There's no egos. It's more of a team. And I think that's the new super team is having like guys that can score, guys that can get theirs and sharing the ball, opposed to like, yeah, I'm Brunson. I'm gonna back you like you were saying, I'm gonna hold the ball and back you down. And try to get a foul call. But if I don't, I'm gonna miss this wide open layup, and it's gonna hurt. Like it's just I don't know. It's annoying, like you were saying.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
That was a bit of a rant.
All good, all good. We love it. Yeah, but no, very, very, very impressive series by the Pacers. Love to see. I guess you could call them a Cinderella, just because it was so like out of the blue. No one really had them
Dark
going
horse,
this
dark
far.
horse.
Obviously, yeah, dark horse. I think maybe some people had them against Milwaukee. But definitely not after that. So, yeah, very, very impressive run by them and their first finals since 2000. But wanted to get your take on one thing that was kind of going a little bit viral online. The other, I guess, yesterday when they closed it out was Pascal Siakam getting the Eastern Conference MVP over Tyrese Halliburton. There's just some funny videos about Halliburton almost thinking that he was going to get it for sure. So he was kind of like stepping forward when they were announcing everything. But
Oh no.
who did you have winning this? And was it a surprise that Pascal Siakam got it?
Yeah, it was a bit of surprise because like I think Halliburton's definitely like the bigger name on that team, but I don't know. Siakam was the more consistent, I guess you could say. Like
Yeah,
Halliburton kind of disappeared in a couple of those games, and it was really like Siakam and a few of the other guys that really like propelled the Pacers past the Knicks. So I don't want to say I'm like surprised, but I can see why. Like I mean, Halliburton just played so well,
yeah,
like throughout the whole series. So
yeah. I
that is
think.
always awkward when you like you like step forward and you're just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get this, and
I
then
mean,
it's
it
not
wasn't
you. Like
super bad. He took like one step and he was kind of smiling before they announced it. So he was kind of like, it wasn't terrible, but I think a lot of people were a little bit surprised. But
dude,
um,
dude, uh, I don't know if I'm gonna say it on the pod because it kind of would derail us, but I have a super funny story of a situation like that in high school
oh
that
boy,
I can tell like off pod or on pod at some point, but it's so funny, dude.
was it about
So
you or
funny.
someone else?
No, it was with Peter, and you know who Jacob Kwok is, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Do I just tell it? Do I just say it
it's up to
at
you,
this
dude.
point?
It's just your thing.
I mean, so it's basically the same situation. Dude, it's so funny. So it's the same, literally the
I mean, I
same
think you have
situation.
to at this point. I feel like
Yeah, I
we've
have
gone
to now.
into
But
enough.
I'll try to keep it brief because it is derailing us a little bit. But it just reminded me of it. It's so funny, and you would think it's hilarious. But it was during our basketball awards where they hand out like the awards, team MVP,
Mm,
defensive MVP, this, that, and the other, and it and they were handing out the MVP for the team.
yeah.
And so they were going over, and so Peter won it, but our friend Peter, who's been on the pod, he won it, and they were going over all the categories. And he led our team in like every category except for one, and it was free throw percentage.
Hmm.
Jacob Kwok had 100% because he was on the bench and he
There's an
came
award
in
for
and he
that.
hit. Well, no. This is what I'm getting to.
Oh, okay.
So how they announced the award was like, all right, we're gonna hand out our team MVP, and he was like, Peter led the team in every category except for one, and then he said the category, and he was like Jacob Kwok, and as he said that, Jacob Kwok thought they were giving it to him, and he started walking up.
Oh,
And
no.
literally how we had it is like our coach would be over here and we're all lined up like looking at him. So
Yeah.
he like steps out and starts walking up. We literally had to grab him and we were like, dude,
Oh
you didn't
no.
win. It's not you. Oh my
That's so
gosh.
funny. All
He was
time
like so red.
embarrassing moment. He probably thinks
Dude,
about that in his sleep all the time
oh my word,
now.
all time. But just the way coach said it, like you could think like, oh, he's saying like, oh, Jacob Clark, and they're just like, dude, there's no way you won it. But that just reminded me of it, like
Hey
just
man,
walking up like, oh,
he
I
was
won it.
putting in the work. He thought he had
It's not
MVP.
you, dude. 100%, 2 for 2 all season on free throws.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Good for
But
him.
anyways, sorry to derail the podcast, but that was just like it just reminded me of that, and I was like, dude,
Yeah,
such
no,
a
that's a great
such a
story. Great story.
crazy
I'm
moment.
sure Peter loves that story. He got the MVP.
Well, Peter also reminds me every day that he won league MVP over me in soccer. So
Yeah, he'd just be scooping up all the awards, huh?
apparently, whatever.
Yeah,
Political. But
yeah.
anyways, moving
We'll have to
on.
let you guys get into that on the pod sometime next time he's on. But I feel like that
Oh
comes up
my
quite a
word.
bit now. But
He brings it up, and he's probably going to listen to that.
well, of course he does.
Peter,
He won.
Peter, you do bring it up quite a bit, and it doesn't bug me, but it does. Nah, it's
Yes.
all good. I laugh about it now because it's freaking Escal, dude. Like
Yeah.
little
Christian
12 team
League, right?
Escal.
Yeah.
Anyways, I've derailed this enough.
Yes.
Back to the NBA.
Yeah, no. The only thing I was going to say about the whole Siakam Halliburton thing was just I was a little bit surprised at the beginning too, just because like you were saying, everybody just kind of thinks about Halliburton. Obviously, he's a point guard. He comes up with these clutch moments, but looking at their stats and just kind of trying to remember the series and everything, like it makes sense why Siakam got it. There's so many clutch rebounds that he would get, and then looking at his stats as well, like a lot more consistent than Halliburton. He
Mm-hmm.
had 3 30-point games, one of which he scored 39, so basically a 40-point game there. Um,
Mm-hmm.
just a lot more consistent. Obviously, he grabs lots of boards. I think for Halliburton too, like that game that they lost, I think it was game I want to say 5. He only had 8 points, which I think really hurt
Mm-hmm.
him as far as just how they view the whole series. And Siakam actually got more points than him, I think, in 3 or 4 of the games. So if we're just looking at the stats, just comparison side by side, it kind of makes sense why Siakam got it over him as well. So not a
Mm-hmm.
huge shock, I guess, if you're looking at the whole team instead of just kind of who has those big moments. And there's so many clutch threes that Siakam had too, where like Knicks would make a run and then he would shoot a huge three to like extend the lead or kind of get him back in it. So I can see definitely why they gave it to him. So big props to him. Last thing we'll touch on here before we move on to the soccer portion of the podcast. A little bit of a debate going on around the NBA circles about the NBA finals. Everybody's kind of like whining that it's 2 smaller markets, and is it good for the NBA? No one's going to watch. Like like everybody's just either complaining or thinking that it's great. So I just wanted to kind of get your opinion on if you think that a Thunder Pacers finals with 2 up and coming stars and teams is good for the NBA, or do you think that it should be 2 bigger markets with, I guess, more stars and more teams that we're more used to seeing in the finals here?
Yeah, funny enough, my pastor actually asked me this question tonight, so I'll give the
Oh,
answer I gave him. But no, I think I love it. Like, I think that we're gonna have a different champion for like it's either the last 7 or 8 years
yeah,
now.
they've achieved
Um,
parity somehow.
I mean, and I absolutely love it. Like, I mean, yeah, sure, it was nice watching like Steph Curry and LeBron duke it out, for
Yeah,
4 or 5 years in a row. Like, sure, dynasties are fun to watch. It's fun to like get these big teams and watch them duke it out all the time. But I really just enjoy not knowing who's going to win it every year, like being able to
mm,
watch the playoffs. And that's what's been fun about watching this playoffs, like going into each series, like you really don't know until that first game who's favored, who's going to win. A lot of the teams are very equal, and I mean, obviously OKC's the cream of the crop, but like we didn't really have them at the beginning of the season winning it, and so it's just nice being able to
right,
go into a season and not have it nailed down. Like, oh yeah, these 2 teams are going to meet in the finals, like yet again. I
right,
think it gets boring after a while. It's kind of like the Chiefs. Everyone's kind of rooting against them now because it's like, all right, we've seen this movie 2 or 3 times now. Let's change up the script a little bit. So
yeah, yeah. No, I basically totally agree as well. I think a lot of people, the people that are saying like, oh, like I'm not gonna watch because whatever, like terrible finals, blah blah, are the same people that were like complaining when it was the Cavs and Warriors for like years and years in a row. Like, oh, it's always the same 2 teams, always the same 2 teams.
mm-hmm.
Personally, I want more parity. I think that there's almost too much parity, which sounds a little bit weird, but like
Hmm.
when it's a new team every single year, it's a little bit like you want those rivalries where it's like kind of the same teams coming up against each other every year, at least in the playoffs. Like maybe not quite in the finals, but like you want those series where it's just like, oh, like T Wolves and Thunder again, like in the or like in the second round or whatever. Just teams meeting each other
Yeah.
several year after year. We have those rivalries where they kind of hate each other, their fans going back and forth
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and things like that. I think that's good for the NBA. But as far as I would say the championship stuff, that's a little bit. Like, I think the parity is great, just because like when it was the Warriors and the Cavs every year. It also made you like a little bit depressed as a fan. Like you can only get so far, and it's like, oh, it's going to be the Warriors. We're going to come up against the Warriors, and we're going to lose again. Like it just keeps
Right.
you and your team more engaged. So I love that portion of it as well. But so I guess I kind of gave a little bit of support for each side, but yeah, ultimately, obviously, I love the parity, and obviously, my team is in it this year for the first time in a long while,
Right.
so loving that as well. So it's also kind of cool that the Celtics kind of fell apart. I feel like they were like the favorite in the East for a long time, like the whole year. Then they kind
Hmm.
of obviously had the injuries, and they got ousted. So yeah, so I love the parity personally, but
Yeah.
hopefully that'll bring the ratings. I think the smaller markets too. I think it's cool that they're in there, just because I feel like they get like no love. I was telling Jared this, and this is the last thing I'll say before we can get over to the soccer portion of the podcast. But I told like the game after OKC beat the Timberwolves like in 5 games, like destroyed them. First time since the KD, Russ, and Harden Thunder team since 2012 we made it to the finals. All time team,
Hmm.
68 wins, SGA MVP. I flip on ESPN the next morning. They're talking about the Knicks and how can they come back against the Pacers, and they're talking about
Hmm.
Caleb Williams and the freaking Chicago Bears and some comments
Yeah.
that he had about not wanting to go there and wanting to go to a different team. And so I was like, I hate this
Yeah.
media. I hate ESPN. I hate the talking heads on there. I hate the morning shows that only talk about the same 4 teams. Like, bro, like we just like the Thunder just I don't know. It was just so frustrating to me after like it's a major sport. The Thunder just made it. Again, like I said, all-time team, have the MVP. First time, great story too. Like it checks all the boxes, but no, they want to talk about the Knicks. And at the time they were down like 3-1, and how can
Right.
they come back? And Caleb Williams, who's like, we're not even gonna be playing football for 3 months. Like, who cares, bro? So that's extremely
Yeah.
frustrating, but it's just kind of what the small market teams have to deal with. So, um,
Yep.
but yeah, yeah. That being said, that'll kind of do it for the basketball portion of the podcast. Here, got a very very exciting NBA Finals coming up. We won't have the first Finals game until Thursday, so a little bit of a break for the teams here to gear up for that Finals matchup. But yeah, we'll have a little bit of a break here, but. We will also hop over to the football portion of the podcast here, where we just wrapped up the season basically as a whole over there as well. So stay tuned for that portion in just a moment as well. All righty, hopping over the pond as we usually do. Obviously, the last time we were with you guys, we kind of wrapped up most of the league play and everything. Went over the title winners who got into the Champions League, most of the relevant teams that were relegated. Talked about that. We just had basically 2 more games to recap now, which have been played. The Conference League final, which included our boy Fezzi's team
Yes, sir.
Chelsea here going in as big favorites against Real Betis from Spain. And then we obviously had the Champions League final as well with PSG and Inter Milan playing in that game that ended yesterday afternoon. So we'll start off with the Conference League final here. Obviously, that's the third tier competition. Like I said last time, a little bit weird that they don't have the Europa League right before the Champions League final, but whatever, we're
Right.
rocking with it. But obviously, like I said, our boy Fezzi's team in it, Chelsea, going in as big favorites. But first half, not looking too hot. After the first
No.
45 here, Batiste getting that early goal up for a good portion of the game here. I think to the 65th, 70th minute, somewhere in there. So kind
Yeah.
of a smash and grab type of situation, but ultimately Chelsea prevailing 4-1, which I think was a little bit cruel to Real Betis in the end. Just because it
Hmm.
didn't look like a much of a game by the end of it. Y'all kind of just throwing a bunch of goals there in at the end. But what do you got to say about a European trophy here? Definitely I was going to say Europa League football, but obviously you're in the Champions League due to the league play in the Prem. But the first team ever to win all 3 European trophies here. Are you? Is this something you get excited about? Obviously, the Conference League win, or not as much here.
The only thing I'm excited about is the fact that it's good to win a trophy with this young group to kind of like, help them, you know, see what it takes to, I guess, win a tournament. But again, we were playing like most of the games we were playing, we were sending like our
Farmers, bro.
CD squad. Yeah,
Farmers.
absolutely. Like teams we didn't even know of, teams that don't even have pictures on ESPN. Like it would just have their name and like a blank spot for their logo. I was like, dude, what are
Yeah.
we playing? Like we're playing people that have real jobs, and this is just their side fun hobby that they do. But anyways, besides the point, um, yeah, it's always good to win some silverware with a young team. I really did not have faith in that first half. Like
Same.
honestly, Betis could have had like two or three more goals in that first half. Like I put it in the doc, like tale of two halves. Betis really looked like they were going to take it to us. I was like, dude, if we don't wake up, we could get routed. Like it's not looking good. But then at the end, like really at the end, like you were saying, like the 65th minute, we really turned it on, poured it on, put four goals past them, and like you said, it's kind of cruel the score line. It looks like Chelsea dominated them, but Betis, like we were talking about leading up to this game, really they have a really good, I guess you'd call it experienced squad. Like some older players, I wouldn't say they're washed, but definitely a little past their prime. You and I are super in love with like Isco. Like
Yeah. One of my
what
favorite
a
players of
class
all
player,
time, dude.
what a class player for
Mm.
sure.
He was running
But
that
yeah,
midfield, bro, in the first
dude,
hour or so of
he
play.
was he had us chasing ghosts, man. Just absolutely just chasing. I don't even know, dude. He was just that's old school midfielding right there. Like it was super fun to watch. I was watching him more than our midfield because
Yeah, bro.
I think I texted you this when I was watching it, and it's a kind of a testament to modern day football, which sucks. But there was no creativity coming out of Chelsea at all. Like it
Mm.
was like get it up to the winger. Winger stands up the outside back, passes it back, finds Palmer in the middle, like Palmer back pat. Like it was just so robotic. There was no creativity. There was no getting in the box. Like it was just like get it out wide, beat the defender, cross the ball, and repeat.
Yeah.
Like just nothing through the lines, nothing through the middle, and it was honestly hard to watch in the beginning. But thankfully we got a win. Like you said, we the biggest thing I'm happy about is we beat Nottingham to get that last spot. Well, I guess not last spot, but ended up in fourth in the Premier League. We will be playing Champions League football next season, so
Yeah.
thankfully I'll be able to watch my Blues in the Champions League. But yeah, good I guess week for Chelsea, I guess, to end the season.
Yeah. I was definitely rooting for Real Betis in
Of
this
course
one.
you were.
I sent. Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't have a problem with Chelsea as much anymore. Like
Yeah.
because they've been bad for a few seasons. Like it's kind of the thing where like you, you don't pity them, but like they're just not as much of a rival as like if they were like competing for
Right.
the Prem every year. Like oh man, I hate them. Like as much as they
Yeah.
can. Like a Man City. Like I just rejoice every time that they lose. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but like I don't have as much of a problem. But like I love the story for Betis here. Like a team that kind of should be in the conference league, not like you guys, no offense.
Mm-hmm.
But just all the guys, like basically everyone in their starting 11, kind of rings a bell. Like, oh, I remember him at so and so club, like ballin. Like I just love that.
Yeah.
Obviously, Isco. Anthony, who's on loan from Man U, like he loves that club, bro. I think he was crying at the end. I don't know if he was crying because he had to go back to Man U or because he lost the lost the final, but
Mm-hmm.
just a cool story here, and like you could so tell, like again, this isn't like necessarily like just against Chelsea, but you could tell with the fan bases, like Chelsea are like kind of the spoiled, like really like they've won a lot of trophies, Champions League twice in the last 15 years, Premier League trophies,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. But like Betis, like never win anything. I think they won a Copa del Rey maybe like 2 or 3 years ago. Uh, Rarely get to a final. Like their fans and their players were like absolutely devastated. Whereas like the Chelsea guys were kind of like, yeah, like we won this trophy that like we don't really care about that much. Like it's cool, but whatever kind
Mm.
of deal. So that was kind of sad. So I was like there for the storyline and everything, but ultimately the
Yeah.
game, I felt like, after the first hour, like Betis just kind of like were just losing steam. Like they kind of seemed like they got gassed, and ultimately I think it was just kind of their bench, the guys that they did sub in just weren't weren't quite up to the task as much as their starters. And I think that Chelsea had the deeper bench. I think the guys that they were able to bring in were a lot more prepared to play. Obviously, playing in the Premier League when they're bringing on Jadon Sancho and Reece James. Just the caliber of those subs over some of the guys that Batiste had ultimately kind of was the difference, and they were able to take advantage and put on several goals
Mhm.
there pretty late on. But solid win, I think, by Chelsea. Obviously, kind of favorited from the beginning to win the whole thing, but you still got to go out there
Right.
and get it done. And for a young team, like you said, I think it was good for them. I think it'll give them a good amount of confidence. Like even though it's the third tier, like it's still technically a European trophy. So I think it was cool for those guys and everything. And you might have found a decent keeper there too, and Jorgensen. I think it is. I think you guys have been rocking with
Yeah.
Sanchez for a while, and he wasn't really
Frick Sanchez, dude.
he
Get him
was
out of
not
our
doing it.
freaking club, dude.
Yeah, so I
Oh,
think that's a
no,
position you guys have
no.
struggled with for several years. Just kind of
So
revolving door
long, dude.
there, but you guys, I'm assuming you're probably going to keep your coach for next year as well. So we'll see kind of where Chelsea are able to take this European triumph from here. Like I said before, first team to win all three European competitions here. So something to be said about that as well. So
Yes,
hopefully you guys
sir.
can make some noise in the Champions League next year. I'm not really sure what happens to y'all's
Hopefully.
to obviously you won the Conference League, so technically you'd be going into Europa League, but I'm assuming that goes to Nottingham Forest, I believe. Is that correct?
I'm not sure how that works. Like, are you saying like because we won the
So
conference league, who gets that spot since we don't
yeah,
take
I
the auto
guess.
bid?
Yeah. Do you
Well,
know who that
Nottingham
goes to?
Forest is
Nottingham Forest is in the
already.
Conference League already.
Maybe it does. I don't know how that works. That'd be an interesting Google.
Yeah.
I really just I don't know. I don't know
What
if it's
what?
like an FA Cup situation where like even though you didn't win the league, but like or not
Yeah,
FA Cup, is it the Supporter Shield? Like
it is FA
that
Cup.
one
So
year you
like,
guys were in it because
yeah, because City won
yeah.
the double, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I think it is kind of a
Not sure how that
situation
works.
like that. I'm trying to
Okay.
kind of look it up as we're going through here, but um,
I would assume it's like the kind of like the NCAA tournament, like, the first four in, last four out, like the top of the last four out would,
mm.
you know, get in because, it's kind of like a like auto bid Steelers kind of thing, like in the
So I do
tournament.
actually have a answer for you here. So I just looked it up,
Okay.
and it looks like because Chelsea won the Conference League and qualified for the Champions League via their league position, the Conference League title holder berth was vacated and passed on to the club in qualifying with the highest club coefficient. So that would be Dinamo Zagreb,
Mm.
actually, that would go to the Europa League.
Oh,
So
so
they were already
gotcha.
qualified technically, but they got an automatic berth due to their coefficient. So that's a little bit of a weird way of doing that. Usually, it's a little bit more like it would go to like your country's, the next
Right.
best place in your country. But then that would be getting ridiculous. Like eighth or ninth in the Prem would go. So I kind of like that a little bit better than, um, you
Yeah,
know,
that makes sense.
than that. So, but yeah, so solid win by Chelsea. We'll see what they're able to do in the Champions League next year. I think this is a. I'm not really sure if they'll kind of stay with a lot of their young players and try to see what they can do, or try to recruit some more, higher, I guess, higher tiered players, but we kind of seen what that's done for them in the past, just buying big names and
Yeah.
splashing big money and not really being able to get much of anywhere. So I'm kind of hoping that they
Yeah, no.
stick with this young squad and just kind of be able to get more experience for them and see where they're able to go from here. But yeah,
Same.
that'll kind of do it for the conference league here, and we'll go on to the best game, highest I guess, caliber game of the entire soccer season here. The Champions League final. Often one of the best games of the year, but unfortunately, this year was not one of those. PSG
No.
and Inter Milan played a very one sided game, I would say, really from the kickoff. 5-0 winners PSG are
Uh,
over Inter Milan. Yeah, just not really in doubt from the very, very beginning. Achraf Hakimi and Desiree Doué both scored inside 20 minutes. kind of played kind of just sat on the ball honestly for about 40 more minutes after that, and they put in
Mm-hmm.
three more goals later in the second half to just really put a stamp on things here. But yeah, what do you got to say about PSG just absolutely dominating? A couple of stats from the game: 23 shots to 8 PSG advantage there. Shots on
Wow.
target 8-2, 60% possession, almost double the amount of passes that Inter had as well. Accuracy through the
Wow.
roof. So just dominance across the board here for PSG. So winning their first Champions League, that greatly coveted Champions League that they've been wanting ever since the new owners came there in I believe it's 2013 or so. Big time investment. Champions League was really the only trophy that they've been coveting for about 15 years now, like I said. So they finally get that as part of their trophy case. They're only the second ever French team to win the Champions League. A little bit surprising there, doubling up
Wow.
Marseille in '93. So
Okay.
finally won it. So they're here as one of the big boys, I guess. Finally, if you couldn't say that
I
before.
guess. Yeah, it's just I think it's really cool that they went away from like buy star players and they
Mm.
went to like youth and creating a really good team and giving
First year they went
I
with that
know.
model.
Yeah, Luis Enrique really like was the best coach for it. I've been seeing some stuff from him. I liked him before, and I'm gonna be honest, I was a little biased because he was Barcelona's coach, and I was
Mm-hmm.
really like I understand why he left, but I was upset when he left. But really underrated coach, I feel like.
Yeah, a little
Um,
bit.
but but yeah, no, like great project they have going on. Like they're gonna be good for a while now.
Mm.
Like I think I saw that like their whole starting 11 is cheaper than the last time that PSG was in the final when they were paying Di Maria, Neymar, and Mbappe. It's cheaper than those three contracts combined.
Yeah,
And
I
I was
believe
just
it.
like, dude, they're gonna be set for a while because I mean, they obviously have the money. They have a good coach, better infrastructure now, a
Mm-hmm.
good young squad that super dominant. But one thing that I find really interesting is like it wasn't really clicking at the beginning of the Champions League season. I think I kind of wanted to ask you this because I couldn't remember, but was it the last day PSG was actually out, like they were in 25th
Yeah,
and they had to win to get in?
yeah,
Like they almost didn't even get out of the table, like the
yeah.
what is it,
They
the
were
table
struggling in the
phase or whatever.
Champions League for sure. I mean, it's
Yeah,
crazy to think about that now. I feel like they're just a juggernaut that can't lose. But yeah,
I
they
know,
were on the
right?
fringe there. Final day or two there. So
Yeah, they ended up putting together really good squad. As a neutral, you wanted the game to be closer because I really didn't have like a horse in the race. Like, wasn't gonna root for Inter because they beat Barca. Never really liked PSG, so I was just rooting for a good game, which unfortunately we didn't get. So that was
yeah,
unfortunate.
yeah. I was rooting for PSG. Just
Mm,
because like I can respect the finally, not going after a big time player, not having a superstar on the squad and kind of going with a little bit more balanced, I guess, players, even though I mean you could make a case that Dembele or Kvaratskhelia is a superstar, but not one guy that you're like, okay, this guy's the guy to kind of lead us.
right.
But yeah, I mean, obviously I loved seeing them win. I think their front three, bro, is just insane. Like obviously Desiree
Mm,
Doué, the
so
guys,
good,
bro, I've been talking about for several weeks now, several months, maybe even. Well, Neves and Vitinha. Vitinha was getting like, bro, this guy after the game, everybody was like best midfielder in the world right now. Like I was like, dude,
dude.
finally people are like recognizing, and just the way after those first two goals, just the way that they were passing and moving, like I texted you after halftime, I was like, they might just like hold on to the ball the rest of the game and just like
Yeah,
ended it 2-0. Like they literally like Inter could not touch the ball. And it was just obviously a product of just that midfield three with Ruiz, Vitinha, and Neves. Just their passing, their movement, Vitinha's control. But I know I say this every time we talk about PSG, but just watching him is just such a joy. Like kind of similar to Isco. I think Vitinha
mm-hmm.
is even better than he was maybe at his prime as well.
Mm-hmm.
Just the control that he has, the touch that he has, being able to ping a ball like 40 40 50 yards across the field. Again, the movement, the way that the front three come tracking back, bro, like that was a huge thing. I feel like with Neymar, Messi, and Mbappe, like they didn't do much of that. Like it was just kind of,
Mm-hmm.
feed me. Like we're gonna take care of the offense. You guys do everything else, kind of vibe. I think Mbappe was a little bit better than that than maybe Neymar and Messi was. But like the front three tracking back, pressing, like Desiree Doué. Obviously, he ended up with 2 goals, but he's one of the most exciting guys that I've seen play in a while. Like I remember when we had this discussion a few just months ago at this point, but on the podcast, you're like, oh, there's not really creative players. I actually mentioned him just because I'd
Mm-hmm.
seen a few different highlight reels and things, but he wasn't even starting at that time. So it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
interesting to see just how this team has grown over the last few months. And like I said, they just look like an absolute unbeatable juggernaut in this game for sure. It's just really really impressive to watch. Like I said, Inter couldn't even get a foot on the ball. Lautaro Martinez
Yeah,
just
man.
really didn't have any opportunities. Him and Marcus Thuram to really do much. I think the Inter's back three was exposed a little bit with a Serbi, poor 38-year-old Serbi getting the winner against Barca, but just completely outmatched with this young front three. So kind of
Yeah.
excited for them just because, like I said, I kind of respected that they finally went away from the superstar model. It is crazy how fast things kind of came together for them as soon as they got rid of their superstars. How fast everything came together, and like you said, great coach. Um, you
Mm-hmm.
know, haven't been a huge fan of him just because he is on the Barca side of things, but happy for him. Obviously, losing his daughter this year, I think everybody was kind of playing for
Yeah.
him as well. So kind of a super cool story there. But yeah, finally getting that elusive Champions League victory that they so desperately wanted, and Inter losing for the second time in 3 years, but.
Tough.
A lot of
Tough.
people are coming down hard on them, but I mean, I think it's impressive to get a team like Inter Milan there two times out of 3 years. So,
Yeah.
you respect what the coach is doing over there as well. But a little bit unfortunate that they lost the league on the final day to Napoli as well. But yeah, we'll see. I think PSG is going to be good for quite a while here. So
Yeah.
but yeah, not much else to really say. I wish there was more to break down, but PSG just very very obviously the better team in this one. A lot of people were
Mm-hmm.
were kind of screaming and whining and yelling, "Oh, Barca should be here! Like this would be a much better game." Blah blah blah.
I don't
Maybe,
think
but you got to
so.
take care of business. So
Yeah, that's
I'm not
true.
I'm not here for all that. So, but that brings us to a little bit of more interesting conversation that does include Barcelona, the Ballon d'Or conversation here. I've been on the record in the past saying that I don't really give respect to the Ballon d'Or anymore, just because I feel like it's gone basically 5 years now, just consistently controversially giving it to whoever they feel like giving it to. But we are going to talk
Mm-hmm.
about it just because it's relevant soccer information and soccer news that's going on now. The odds for that award after the Champions League final. We still have the Nations League. I believe that's the last tournament before the quote unquote calendar for the Ballon d'Or kind of
Mm.
comes to an end. But the best odds in this order are Ousmane Dembele from PSG, Yamin Yamal from Barcelona, Mohamed Salah from Liverpool, and then Rafinha also from Barcelona. So Barca squeezing 2 favorites in there. A little bit impressive, a little bit of, shades of old Barca days when they'd have 2 guys up
Yeah.
on that stage. But what do you got to say about Dembele having the best odds now? Like, who would have thought even like a year ago that Dembele would be up there? But he's got over 30 league goals for PSG, leading that front line. Like, he was obviously a winger for many many years, but leading that striking partnership up there for PSG. Obviously, winning the treble in France, and then getting this last Champions League final. Even though he didn't score, winning the Champions League, and he still got that Nations League as well, coming up with France in the semis there as well.
Yeah, I mean, I told you as soon as you gave me the statistics for who, like the odds for who's gonna win it, I was like, I better not give it to Yamal and Rafinha. And that's probably sounding crazy coming from a Barca fan, but I'm just like, dude, what has Barca done as a whole as a team? Like, sure, they had like a really good individual seasons. I guess like it is an individual award, but like Dembele helped like PSG with all these youngsters win a Champions League,
Yeah.
and you know you can you we can get into like how much does the league matter? You know, everyone calls it a farmers league, this, that, and the other. Obviously, it's not that strong, as strong as like La Liga or the Premier League by far, but I really think that if I were to give it to someone, I'd give it to Dembele. Like Yamal's gonna win one. I don't really see Salah. Like, yeah, Liverpool
Mm,
had a good season, but PSG beat Liverpool. Just gonna throw that out there.
yeah.
PSG beat
Yeah.
Liverpool,
Exactly.
and like Rafinha is just like, I don't know. I got to see another season of it because like he was pretty bad before this all happened. So I'm just like, maybe it's a flash in the pan. I think Dembele, like, we're just so spoiled with the years of Ronaldo and Messi, where it's just like pick between the two. Like, how do you? And now
Yeah.
we're stuck with like, Dembele, Yamal, Salah, and Rafinha. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just in my mind, it's just like whatever. But I really hope Dembele wins it. I think it'd be really cool coming from Barcelona, where he did not have any sort of success, just a lot of injuries, finding his way at PSG.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man.
Yeah, I agree basically with everything you said. I do hope Dembele gets it. I think that would be the most logical choice. Just looking at
Mm,
this, from a 30,000 foot view, I don't think that you can give it to Salah just because, um, pretty early on in the spring we were like, Liverpool, we treble, quadrupling here, and then like they basically got eliminated from everything in a 2 week span, and they were just kind of left with the
mm,
Premier League, which is impressive. But looking at his goal catalog, like he scored a lot of goals, but a lot of them are penalties, a lot of them are tap ins, which like I understand that's kind of a hater thing to say, but like I yeah, he scored a lot, but like I don't look at him as like one of the best players in the world right now. I just don't. He's getting older. There's
right.
talks about his contract, maybe going to Saudi. So like, I just there's been better players other than the players we're just talking about here about the Ballon d'Or as well. I think, in my opinion, I think Yamal has had a good season, but like I mean, again, if you look at his like, he's a fun player to watch, but he scored 9 goals in the league and 5 goals in Europe. Like, what are we
Right.
doing here, right? I mean, like cool, like great, like he's great to watch, but like that's not moving the needle for me. Like Alvaro Morata can get that for me, like I'm gonna need a little bit
Right.
more contribution. Like I know he has like assists and you know whatever. He looks cool doing his skills and stuff, but like is he going to win a Ballon d'Or in his career? Like probably. Like, but I'm going to need to see more in a season to give it to him. I wouldn't have a problem if
Yeah.
they gave it to Rafinha, to be honest, because he has lots
Mm,
and lots of goals. Obviously, Barcelona treble. There's something to be said about that. Obviously winning the Super Cup, the Copa del Rey, and then the league as well, kind of leading that Barcelona team. He's really the leader there, at least in my opinion, more than Yamal is. And I wouldn't be mad, I guess, if they gave it to him. But again, I'm going to go with Dembele, like you said, just kind of for the same reasons. Winning everything in France, I know isn't that impressive, but he did win everything in France, and then winning the
right.
Champions League final, like I said, that coveted final that PSG has wanted forever. Even though he didn't score in the final, that doesn't matter for me. Like, I mean, he's still doing his part. Um, he's still got the Nations League that he could win with France. So like again, like what more can the guy do? Like he scored 35 goals this season, won basically every trophy that's on the table. I mean, there's something to be said about that. And like again, I all this logic can just go by the wayside because I think the Ballon d'Or, like we've proven that I feel like there's not much logic. It's just whoever, like, oh, I'm a Barca fan. I'm gonna vote for Yamal or for Rafinha. But um,
Right.
if you compare again Dembele with both those Barca guys as well, like it's kind of even as far as like I feel like Dembele obviously has had a better season from Yamal just from a statistics point of view. But like even if it comes down to Dembele and Rafinha, when it's kind of that close, you kind of go to team success, and like they both won trebles, impressive. But like
Right.
Dembele won the biggest trophy and the most coveted trophy in European football. So I think that you got to go with him. So we'll see what they're able to do in the Nations League as well. But that would kind of be my vote as far as the Ballon d'Or goes.
Yeah, absolutely. And another reason I wouldn't give it to Yamal and Rafinha, kind of like what you alluded to, like Yamal has more assists than goals. Like we're not gonna give it to him for like
Yeah,
they had 9 goals in La Liga. Like that's not really moving the needle for me. But all of his assists come because he has Lewandowski and Rafinha scoring goals,
yeah,
which means like you can't have like both of these seasons don't stand alone by themselves. Like Rafinha doesn't have the season that he has without Yamal having the season that he has, and vice versa. So like you can't really give an individual award to a tandem that like
Yeah.
works so well together. That's the only reason that they had a good season. And this is
Yeah.
coming from a Barca fan. Like this is coming from someone that you would think would just say like give it to one of them. But then you have Dembele, who, like you said, helped them win the Champions League, helped them win everything in France, had a lot of goals, had a lot of assists, individually had a very good season and won because of it. And it was because of him, not because of someone else.
Yeah, and one last thing I'll add to, like specifically about Yamal, maybe a little bit with Rafinha as well. I think Yamal, especially, he benefits so much from like the Barca hype and all the Barca fans and like their desire so badly to have like the next one from Messi. Like they tried to crown Ansu Fati, that didn't really work out too well. And they're gonna
Yeah.
push the PR like really really hard for him to be in those conversations, but again, there's a guy on his team that I think that deserves a little bit more than he does this year. Like I'm not, obviously I'm again Madrid fan on the Madrid Barca thing, but Yamal's gonna have his time. If he's this good at 17, like who knows what his career is gonna pan out to be. So I think that he'll be in the conversations for this award, but I do think that Dembele ultimately had the better season, not just statistically, but obviously the trophies that he's won as well. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Uh,
I totally agree.
yeah. Yeah, that'll kind of conclude the soccer portion of the podcast. We're kind of in the dog days now with officially the Champions League final kind of wrapping up. We do have the Nations League and the Club World Cup coming up later
Woo!
in the month. So a couple competitions to look forward to that we wouldn't typically. Obviously, no Euros, no World Cup, anything like that this summer, but we do have those two competitions. I'm not sure how much of the Club World Cup I'm going to be watching. I feel like it's going to be kind of weird. I've heard that a lot of the players will be sitting just for rest, and then some players are going
Yeah.
to be like transfer rumored, so they're going to be sitting or whatever. And there's so
Yeah.
many teams, bro. Like I feel like I don't know, it'd be hard to keep up with everything. But
Yeah,
I
it's
am,
it's definitely more of like a giant like American tour. Like you know how the teams come over and play
yeah,
games in
yep.
America? That's basically all it's gonna be. I'm definitely gonna try to go to a game. I just saw that, and it's not even gonna be that much of a game, but I just saw Chelsea is playing in Atlanta next
Oh,
month or this
nice.
month.
Yeah,
And so I'm like, dude, make a little trip, go see Brandon, watch some Chelsea. I don't
there
know,
you go.
see if that
Yeah,
works out. But yeah.
yeah. We'll see how that tournament kind of pans out. I also think it's weird that there's so many teams in there. They're just like, what are they doing? Like again, I'm not trying to
Right.
hate, but like Chelsea won the Champions League like 5 years ago, and that's why they're in. And
That's
then
why
like
they're in, yeah.
Inter Miami's in there because like we talked about that controversially. Several teams from like
Yeah.
Mexico. I don't know. It's a whole thing, but I'm pretty excited for the Nations League that's going to be happening
Yes.
June 4th and 5th. We got Germany, Portugal on one side, Spain, France
Wow.
on the other. So that's this coming week, midweek, I guess. A little bit of weird scheduling there, but very very excited for those two. And then the final, I believe, is Sunday. So that'll be exciting, an exciting watch. I always get down for those international games with big time countries. So we got that look
Hmm.
forward to, but that'll kind of wrap it up for the club portion of the soccer season. And like I said, we'll look forward to these Nations League games and the Club World Cup. But that'll do it for the soccer portion of this podcast. We'll wrap it up with a little bit of golf here in just a moment as well. Touching on a sport that we've been trying to get into a little bit more. Me personally, I've been playing and watching quite a bit more than I really ever have.
Nice,
Great sport
nice.
of golf. We talked about this a little bit the last couple of weeks, but Fez and I both are really just getting at the age where we like golf. So it's just
That's right.
fun to play, fun to watch. Fezzy Boy didn't watch quite as much as I did this past weekend, but I always kind of get into the championships now. And I see Scottie Scheffler playing, and Scottie Scheffler came away with another dub at the Memorial Tournament this past weekend, playing in the. I was actually looking at this a little bit. The tournament that Jack Nicklaus actually started way back in the '80s. That's kind of
Hmm.
his tournament that he runs, and It's obviously not a major or anything like that, but apparently it's a pretty big tournament just because there's an honoree every year, and Jack Nicklaus being arguably the best player that ever played, being his tournament is really really cool. He's pretty old now, but it's cool to
Yeah,
see
super old.
him out there. Yeah, but Scottie Scheffler coming away with the dub. Had a pretty good first couple days there, but really just kind of locking in like he does on Saturday and Sunday. Played really really well. Saturday. Ben Griffin actually had the lead in several different times throughout the tournament here. He was coming off a win I remember from I think it was last week. He just barely beat out Scotty, but he's kind of one
Mm.
of those frat boys. I feel like he's got these sunglasses. I don't know if you've ever seen him play, but he's got these sunglasses. And he just looks like a frat
Nice.
boy from the South, just out there golfing. But um,
Dope.
yeah, he didn't fall apart necessarily, but he definitely left the door open. A couple bogeys
Mm.
yesterday, and just not he kind of just was up and down today, which you can't do against Scottie Scheffler. Um,
Yeah.
he was dead even. I think Scotty was yesterday, and then today just really really. I think he was 2 under, so just not making very many mistakes. Apparently, this is the ninth consecutive time that he has led going into the final day. And he comes away with the dub. So obviously, you don't want to
Wow.
start off, under him on the final day, or else he's going to kind of close it. But
Nah.
yeah, it was cool to see him win again. Sepp Straka on the second day, I think it was pouring down rain, and he had several bogeys on that one, but he ended up coming away with just being one over, and he ended up in third. So you can only imagine if he had a better day on that second day on Friday that he would have
Yeah.
placed a little better. And my boy Ricky Fowler getting a top 10 as well. That's solid for
Solid.
him. But yeah, Scotty Scheffler coming away with another dub. You think he's going to win the U.S. Open here coming up in a couple weeks, or what? He's got to.
I mean, the dude is absolutely rolling right now,
Machine,
man. I'm
machine.
machine, man, dude. Like he's rolling. I would love to see him win the U.S. Open. We were kind of talking about this before we started this segment. We just really we can appreciate someone that's really really good at their sport at like whatever they do. But just the fact that, like you were saying, he's a family faith, just an all around good person,
Yeah,
like really makes him really really easy to root for. That golf is like something he's like extremely good at and takes a lot of pride in, but that's not his everything, and that's something you can really respect
yeah.
out of him. But yeah, I mean, with the way he's playing, like just keeps on rolling. Like, why not the U.S. Open? Like,
Might as well
is
just win
that
them
is
all in
that?
1 year, right?
I mean, might as well. But yeah, definitely rooting for him. Like Sam said, I did not watch this tournament. Had a few more things going on. Definitely this summer getting into more watching more golf for sure, because with a lot of the other sports, kind of dipping into a lull over the summer. Not a whole lot going on. Definitely to keep up with the tour and stuff. Do you watch like any live golf? I don't. I
No,
just see
I
stuff
don't even
on.
know where to find
Yeah,
it.
I don't know. I don't know either. And I actually don't have anything against it. I'm just like, yeah, like, sure, like pay these players. Like, I do see why people don't like it, but I'm just like, whatever. It's
It's
happening
tough for the
everywhere. Saudis.
traditionalists to get their mind around. So
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely agree. And like, there's talks about a merger and stuff like that. I definitely need to dive into more golf this summer so I can have some more intelligent takes as we kind of expand this golf
yeah,
segment. Like we're trying, but
yeah. I think the hardest thing for me with golf is just like it's kind of the beauty and also the curse of it. It's just like you watch. It's like 5 hours, bro. Like
yeah,
it's so long. Like you can't just.
it
It's not like
is.
a basketball or soccer game where it's like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and you're done kind of deal. Like you kind of got to periodically like check in. And like for me, like as a soccer, basketball, like basically every sport kind of thing, where it's just like
Yeah.
you're like locked in. You don't want to miss anything, but like you can't do that for golf because you're going to be there like the whole day just watching. So
Right.
it's impossible. So that's kind of
Yeah.
like I said, blessing and a curse, I guess. But yeah.
Yeah. But it is the easiest, like, it is the easiest sport to just like have on the
Yeah,
side. Like you can have it on all day. You don't have to be watching it, but just like check in every once in a while on the scoreboard and stuff like that.
yeah,
Another thing that I find really cool about golf, and this isn't like an original take, but like Jathan, someone that we've talked about on the pod before, Jathan Eiler, he actually likes golf a lot because he said it's very like the word he used is like incorruptible. Like we talk about all the time, like in the NBA and the NFL, like scripted and stuff like that. Like you can't really do that. Like there's no referees. It's just like
No.
you and the course against everybody else. Like most of the time it's just you against the course. Like everyone's just trying to do the best they possibly can. And it's
Yeah.
like that's all it comes down to. It's very just
Yeah.
simple,
That's
straightforward, but go ahead.
yeah, that's that I mean that's a good point. Like even if a guy like I don't know, let's say he was trying to throw something, like there's 50 other guys that aren't. So it's just no way that
Yeah,
you can really yeah, no, that's great. It's a
exactly.
good point.
Yeah. It's one of the simplest sports, but like it is the hardest thing like to
You
do.
can't
Like it's
rig
right
it
up there with hitting a baseball.
without getting everybody's buy-in, which is impossible. So
Exactly.
yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
a good point.
It's
Love it.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, Scotty keeps rolling. We'll definitely keep up with the US Open coming up. Hopefully he can win that. Be rooting for him. But I think that's a pod, Sammy.
That is a pod.
Yep, that's a pod. We appreciate you guys coming and tuning in on this Sunday night. Again, like Sam said, we're kind of sporadic. Hopefully this summer will kind of slow down here coming up. But yeah, we appreciate if you guys would go check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and YouTube. Trying to grow those, so we'd appreciate any subscribers, any follows, and also rate and share the podcast. That would help us out a lot. We'll catch you guys on the next one. I
Peace.
Peace.